Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get started. And Caroline, can you just keep admitting folks who are coming in late?
Yeah, no
And let's,
problem.
great. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm Diane Chapita, and I am the Illinois Farm to School Network, I guess, network manager and program manager. I work at 7 Generations Ahead along with Caroline, who's helping me out today. And we are going to uh, go through our final presentation for We're Farm to School Ready. And this is our market ready training. We had one back in, I believe it was March, and this is our second one. We also had an in-person training back in January at the Illinois Farm Bureau conference. And so this has been a series we've been doing to help farmers and producers and processors become ready to sell into the farm to school market. So we're going to go ahead and get started. You can go ahead, next slide. There you go. And so on for today, what we're going to mainly be talking about is very quickly, I'm going to review the tools we went through in the last training. And that's going to go, we're going to take you through the farm profile and product profiles because that's pretty much the backbone for what we're going to show you today. And we are also going to be going through assessing what schools and early care sites need based on their capabilities and their interests, and then setting yourself up to give them what they need. And we're also going to take a walk through the Illinois Market Maker website. And this is a great tool, and we've been training schools to join Market Maker. So what you're going to start to see is a farm to school presence on Market Maker. And I'm going to walk you through that website in case there's folks who haven't been through it before and show you some of the tricks of the trade and things that you need to be aware of. And then I'm briefly going to share upcoming events and opportunities, and then we're going to go into Q&A. So go ahead and settle back. If you have questions, you can also put them in the chat if you wish. And at the end, at the presentation, about 10 after 4 or so, we'll allow anyone who has questions to go ahead and ask away, and we'll also answer anything that's in the chat. So the first slide we're going to talk about is what we shared last time when we had our last training, creating a farm to school profile. And what this is going to do is this is going to give any school district that you approach answers immediately to any questions they may have when it comes to local procurement. This form has been developed by us, and we have shared it with the Land Connection and a few others. And what we have done is created, it's only 2 pages, 2.5 pages long, and you can see it's widely spaced. It's not hard to fill out, but what it does is it allows you to actually share pertinent information directly about your farm or your food hub or your processor, whoever you are. It allows you to share that kind of information that the school's going to need. The first section is just your basic information. And then it goes into food safety information. And this is important. Not every school requires GAP. Not every school knows what they require. But when you provide what you have in place, it answers a lot of questions for these school buyers. And you can basically tell them you have proof of your farm food safety plan, which every farm has a safety plan, a food safety plan. It is what it is, right? And all you have to do is provide proof that you have one. And that could be as simple as showing them a copy of your food safety plan. It could be as simple as showing them a spot if you have a website on your website that explains it. They will always ask for a current year water test result, and that's required. That's something that they're automatically going to do. And then you can go on to explain other certifications you have. If you're GAP certified, great. If you're not, that's okay. If you're in process of getting a certification, you can also list that. And then the form will go into other sections that will be starting with cold delivery. Do you have a refrigerated truck when you deliver, or do you have a system to deliver your products cool earlier in the morning once you've harvested? It allows you to explain basic processes on your farm. And then it goes into where you get to list all of those products that you have, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to list something that you're growing now, something that you're producing right now that you are interested in selling. And you're gonna share the pack size that you normally can pack in. You're gonna share if the product is minimally processed or just basically raw, washed, and if washed and packed, you have a wash pack line. You're also going to share the seasons that you're actually harvesting, and this is all estimates. Anyone who knows, even if you're growing a garden, you understand that you can't expect things to be ready for harvest at an exact time. It's all weather based. So these are just approximations. So if you're growing autumn vegetables and you're growing spinach as the season cools down, that's something you're going to list as a fall or autumn product. And you're also going to list basically when you expect it to be harvesting and how long you expect your season to last. Again, it's not in stone. What this form does is it gives that school buyer the opportunity to think about what you have now and what they could possibly utilize in the fall or in the late spring, or even if they're doing summer feeding. And a lot of districts do summer feeding and they can buy locally. And it's a great opportunity for them to dip their toes in the water. It's great because the market is flush with fruits and vegetables. They're fresh. They're coming right from a weekly or even a daily harvest. And it allows them to experiment with recipes with a smaller audience. So they're not going to be feeding their entire population during the summer. They may be feeding a third of it or half of it. So it allows them to create recipes and experiment, to create side dishes, to maybe dabble with their salad bars, things like that. It allows them to think outside the box and make plans for when fall starts up. So this is a great opportunity to sell these products to them and let them play with them during summer feeding and let them get used to the products. And it's also a great way to share information from your farm that can talk about, do you have field trip opportunities? Are you able to allow field trips onto your farm? Can you come to a classroom in the wintertime off season and share how you grow your vegetables or your fruits? And they can tie into a science class. It can tie into a nutrition class. Can you attend Feed Our Farmer lunch in February? All these different things are listed on this profile. And by having this profile and having it filled out, it's a tool for you when you approach an institutional buyer. Even early childcare centers are maybe interested in buying, and they won't understand what you're trying to sell until you approach them. And when you have the tools in your hand to do it, it makes it far easier to contact an early care center or contact a K-12 in your area and ask to have a meeting to talk about this. That way you have something in your hand when you show up. And of course, it's always nice to have samples if you have them, if you're in season. If you're not, have photographs. If you have a brochure made up, have a brochure, and make sure you have a farm profile that you can share with them. Okay, next slide. Okay, and then along those lines, we also talked about last time creating product profiles for schools. This is pretty important, right? Because what you're doing is you're giving them a bit of imagination and thinking ahead of time. You're allowing them to say, yeah, you grow carrots, great. Every school sells carrots. Every school has carrots. But what's different about your carrots? What can you offer? Are you Are you growing different colors of carrots? Are you growing dwarf carrots, baby carrots, big carrots? You know, there's all these different questions that you can answer and describe in a product profile. And you can also give them ideas for service. You can mention that they would be great on a salad bar, that they're great for soups and stews in wintertime, that they can be cleaned and cut up and frozen to be added into recipes later. And if you have recipes on your website, or if you have farm recipes that came from your family, you can also share that. You know, you can do all these different things on these product profiles that will give them an idea, allow them to imagine your food in their food service, and also give them a list that they can scroll down later when they're interested in buying. There's all these different ways that you can utilize profiles when you meet with a school district or an early care, and actually get them interested in buying from you. And even if they've never heard of Farm to School, even if they have no idea why you're on their doorstep, on their doorstep, it's always great to have these things that you can leave with them, because they'll eventually look back at them. You know, I mean, I can attest to that. I used to be a food service manager for schools back in the, I'm going to say, early 90s. And people would visit me and give me product sheets. And it wasn't just my main distributor, it was others in the area. And the first farm that came to my office handed me, I guess, a brochure about their farm and some pictures and a list of things that they grew.
You would be sitting there going, okay, how do I do triage? Yeah. Figure out which are the best ones, because there's
This is an opportunity to give them information that they never even thought about before. I had never thought about buying locally from a farm until a farm walked through my door. And it was a big surprise to me, because I was just, you know, business as usual. So when he dumped off all that information and I was a little overloaded, I thanked him. We had a brief discussion and he left. A week later, I found his stack of information and I went through it. And it was amazing, because all of a sudden, all the bells, you know, all the lights went on, bells were ringing, and I thought about it for the first time. This is kind of cool. This is very interesting. And that's how I started my first relationship with a farm. So these are tools for you guys to actually utilize, to take out with you when you're approaching schools who look at you and go, you want to what? It's a great way to break the ice, and it's information that you can leave with them. Okay, next slide. Okay, and this is just an example. We actually have these profiles ready for you, and we will send them to you tomorrow in an email. For those who weren't on the first call and didn't have this information, we are going to resend these. And this is just an example of what it could look like. You know, and it just gives information about the product. It talks about the seasonal availability. You can develop a flavor profile. So if you have the sweetest carrots in Illinois, you're going to state that in your profile, right? You're going to say, our carrots are super sweet. We harvest at the frost or after the frost. And you can explain what they look like. Are they different colors? Are they deep orange and just wonderfully sweet? This is your opportunity to make everything interesting and everything actually, I guess, tantalizing for the buyer. And you're also going to share a little bit of how to store things. Not every school knows how to store kale. You know, not every school knows how to store farm fresh eggs. You need to share things as much as you can with them to make it easier for them. Schools love when you hand them tools. You know, when they're complete and all they have to do is utilize them. The more information you get them, the better. It's a wonderful thing for them to take it and use it instead of having to rewrite the book and figure out how to go about doing that. And then, of course, you leave your contact information. You can leave a website link. with recipes, or, if you have a farm website, pictures, product listings, things like that. If you have a market maker account, you can leave the link for that. There's a lot of different things that you can put in these product profiles and in your farm profile that will help get your information out and get the word out. Okay, next. Okay, and now we're going to go into kind of the nitty-gritty of assessing and connecting to potential customers. I've spoken to a lot of farms lately that seem to be hitting I guess a brick wall when they talk to schools. They just can't seem to make the connection or even have a conversation. And I think what happens is you treat it as a cold call, right? So you're calling someone up trying to sell something, and that's not really the approach you need to make. With schools, for one thing, they're very, very busy, just like you are. And they have a method of doing things. They do things the same way over and over, and it works for them, and it lightens the load a bit because they're also working with staff, and there's always staffing issues. They're working with food availability and supply availability, and menuing, and nutrition breakdowns, and meal component breakdowns. There's a lot going on there, right? So when you're thinking about school targets and early care targets, the first thing you should do is take a look at them, see if they're online. Every district is, right? And when you go online, look for things that give you clues as to who they are before you approach them. So the example I have here is the River Trail School District in the suburban Chicago. And if you look at what I found on their website, I just typed in the search bar school lunch or lunch, and their food service came up. Food services page came right up. I scrolled down and look at that, Illinois Harvest of the Month. Now this is farm to school right here. And all you had to do was click on it, and now you can see what they're featuring every month for Illinois Harvest of the Month. And if you click on that, you'll actually get the menu. And then you can go to their menu grids and look through their menu grids to see, do they have a salad bar? Are they serving salad sides every day? What are they doing at this district? Are they baking bread? Are they making muffins? In their breakfast program, are they touting homemade muffins? Do you sell berries or grains? There's an in right there. And this is a little bit of research on your part with a whole lot of information. And you can also check to see if schools are registered for local food and schools funding, which is LFS funding. And there's a hot link here that you'll get in the presentation that takes you to the listing of schools that have applied for funding. Now, local food in schools funding allows them to buy minimally processed foods for their breakfast or lunch program. So this is them putting those foods on the tray, and it's a reimbursement program. So if they decide that they're going to buy local, get your name in front of them, because they're going to go out to bid, either a 3-bid process or something a little bit larger, and they're going to look for people growing food who can deliver to their area. And this is a great way to see if they're actually pulling in funding for this. And if you find the school district you're looking for on that list and they haven't signed up, well, now you have something to ask them, right? Now you can say, LFS funding, local food and school funding, is a thing, for schools in Illinois. Have you ever considered connecting to ISB to ask if you can register for funding? Have you ever thought about using that funding to buy local products? It's a great tool to entice them to think further. And it's also a great idea if you can get on the farmer, rancher, producer list at ISB. This list is available for every school that has registered for LFS funding, and they can go on their website through their school district, and they can actually look at the list of farms and producers and ranchers. They're there who are willing to and excited to sell food into schools. And there's a survey you fill out to get on the list. And I've got a live link here, and you'll get that again in the email. And I'll make sure I put the two or three top links in the email right at the top in the first paragraph, in case you have difficulties downloading the slides. And if you do have difficulties downloading anything I send you after tomorrow, let me know and I'll walk you through it and help you figure out, if you can't do it in Word, if you don't have it, maybe if you have Google, you can open a Google file and I can send it to you that way. There's a lot of different ways to manage this. And I just want to make sure everyone has these tools at hand. So this is just part of your assessment. This is looking at who's there around you, your target buyers, right? And just not a lot of time on these websites, but a little bit to see who they are. And then you can find out the name of the food service director or the kitchen manager. You can also find out the name of the lead principal or the superintendent. So now you have a couple names you can send an email to and introduce yourself and ask them for a meeting, or stop by the office and ask to speak to someone. And hopefully if they're not busy, they'll be able to do it, but it's probably safer to send out an email first, explaining who you are, sharing the concept of selling local into schools. You can share our link if you want for Farm to School. You can share the link for the LFS funding on the ISB page. And you can just say, I would love to have a conversation with you. Even if you haven't thought about buying local before, this may be a great thing. This could really, set your school apart. It could really make a connection between what's grown all around you and what's on that lunch tray. And again, just a little bit of research. And if you ever get stuck on a school website and you can't seem to figure out what you're doing, shoot me an email and we'll do a walkthrough on a Zoom, and I'll help you find the information you're looking for and show you how to look for it a little bit closer, so you can go on to any school website and figure out who you need to send that email to. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we've talked about, assessing and locating those potential buyers, institutional buyers. And now we're going to talk about giving them what they need, right? Schools love it when you supply them with the information and the tools they need to move forward. If you're asking them to do their own research, it's going to take them a long time and you may not get a response at all. So this slide basically talks about making sure that when you're approaching a school buyer or you're approaching an early care buyer, you have in the back of your mind, you have a plan, right? You have a process. You're not just going to cold call them and hope you get somebody on the phone, because that rarely happens. And when it does, they're going to not have a clue who you are or why you're calling. And that's probably the fastest way to get shut down, is because now they have to go do lunch and you're on the phone holding them up, and they don't have any idea what Farm to whatever it is. So this is kind of you making your first introduction, right? So there's points here on this slide that are great ways to get them started, great way to actually, I guess, open the door, right? Talking about your interest first and foremost is pretty important, because they're going to think that you're just trying to sell them something. Go beyond that. Talk about your interest in getting your food on their school trays. Talk about making that connection between local food and the kids in your area who are eating lunch every day. I mean, make it personal. Don't just say, oh, I was interested in selling some tomatoes and some zucchini. Don't start like that, because that's just a sales call. You want to go beyond that. You want to develop a relationship with these folks. You don't want to make them think, I already have a broadline distributor. Why are you calling me? I already have a produce distributor. Why are you calling me? This is something you have to lead into. And you can also talk about how, sourcing locally can benefit their school, can benefit the community, can benefit the kids. I mean, this is a win-win-win for everyone. So when you open their eyes to what you are trying to do, right, not just sell zucchini, but make that connection into a school district, into the kids who are in the community all around near your farm, right? This is going to be your opportunity to plead your case, right? Instead of have somebody say, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't have time. So these are the things you need to think about when you're making first contact. I know it kind of sounds like we're dealing with, first contact with aliens. It's not like that, but they don't know who you are, and they don't know why you're calling to sell them food. They already have distributors, and this is going to be new to about 80% of them. So what you need to do is, first, make it personal. Second, let them know what this is and why you're doing it. And then third, share these very important pieces, the profiles, and the links where they can find your farm, and product lists and product profiles. You need to share these tools with them so you can get them interested, and then ask them what they might be interested in. Ask them their opinion. Ask them, well, I know you have a produce distributor and probably a broadline distributor, right? Every district does. But what would you be interested in if you could buy locally? What kind of, if you've been to your farmer's market, what would you be interested in serving at school? What would maybe be an interesting way to start? Ask them, because they're going to have an opinion. And once they think about this, they're going to share things with you. And again, it also makes them think about it, which is, for a lot of them, the first time they're ever going to think about this. This is not commonplace for a lot of districts. So this is your opportunity to make it a discovery, right? To turn a light bulb on and have them think about it. And we have, there is, through ISB, thank you very much, Lindsay Blau, she's on the line today. Thank you very much for providing this video. This is a market maker training. There's a link here that they shared with school buyers through the LFS program. And at 14 minutes and 7 seconds, if you scroll forward on this link, it's on YouTube, and go past the commercials. At 14:07, Regella from the Illinois Farm Bureau actually starts to go through the market maker website with schools. So she's showing them how to create an account. She's showing them where to look for food. Ooh, looking for food. Here we go. You want to be in front of them when they're looking for food. And it also allows you to see what they're looking at on that website. So this is when you have time, this is a great thing to pop on and read and watch. And at 14:07 in the timeline, that's where she actually takes them on the website. And it's a great insight to see what we're teaching schools. And I share this every time I train now, so the schools are aware that market maker is a possibility for them, and a big possibility, and a great tool for them. And this is the connection we're trying to make between our farms and our schools. Okay, next slide. Okay, now we're going to go through the actual Illinois Market Maker site. And we're just going to go from just through a couple pages to show you. I'm not sure how many of you on the line today are actually have a market maker website account. I would love to actually, if you could pop in the chat who actually has a market maker account, that would be great, because I'm just curious to see how many folks on the call today actually do. But I'm going to go through why you should have a market maker account, and why we're pushing school districts into market maker to actually create accounts and to shop, right? So they're looking for local food, and this is one of the prime spots that we actually send them to. Okay, so we're going to start on the main page, and we're going to go up to the register sign in button up on the top. And this is your start to create a page, right? And this is a very easy process. I've done it already for a couple districts who have asked for help. I did it for a farm who asked for help, and I actually did it for Illinois Farm to School Network. So I've been on this market maker quite a lot, building accounts. You can either create your own sign-in, or you can utilize a Google account, which is attached to a Gmail account if that's where your farm is. I know a lot of farms have at gmail.com addresses for their email. You can go through Facebook. If you have a Facebook page for your farm, you can go that way. It's very easy to do, and it takes you step by step through creating a market maker page for Illinois. And it's not hard to do. And if you do have problems, they do have a 411 help that you can send out email to ask for assistance. But it took, I think when I created ours, it took all of, I want to say 20 minutes. And then I went back again and played with it again. And now actually it needs to be updated again. So, it's an easy process. And they do say that if you change things, that you're selling, if things change at the farm, you should be adjusting your market maker page as well. So go ahead and, if something happens, if you've picked up a couple different new products that you're producing and you've dropped a few others, if you've changed over seasons, update your market maker page, because that's important and that's where the schools go. Okay, so next we're going to go to the buy sell button. And what you're going to see here is a full listing of farms. Okay, and this is going to be farms that are selling or buying, or buyers that are buying. And by the way, this is a great place for food processors to go. They look for overages to buy food for processing, and farms actually post overages in the season. In the summer, you'll see this thing light up. And it lights up because folks are trying to move things. They have a glut in zucchini. They have a glut of tomatoes. There's things that grow really well, things that grow way too well, and things that don't do well at all, right? So if you're trying to move things fast, and schools are in summer feeding and they're looking to buy things fast, or if they're looking to purchase things for a special event, even if it's a corn celebration day in August, they're going to look at this buy sell page to see if there's anyone who's actually in their area who's selling. And we're going to give you an example of one. We're going to look for, popcorn. So here we have what this looks like. This is a family grown popcorn, Seven Forks Farm in Illinois. And this is what they're selling. Right? So if you scroll through, you'll see how they list things. It's just same thing as a farmer profile, general details, product availability dates, pricing. Well, it looks like you have to call, right? And then it also goes into, I guess, when it expires, listing, when the listing was posted, right? And if it was updated. So, you can actually look at this, and now you can connect to a farm if you're looking for popcorn, right? And this is what a school is going to do. They're going to actually go and look for food. And they even have an Etsy store. So, you can have your website here. You can have your email listed, contact. When they click on it, they're going to get your email. There's all these different, I guess, tools to help you connect to them. So that's the buy sell forum. And you can actually sign yourself up if you're a buyer or a seller. You can sign yourself up for updates, and you will get weekly updates as to what's for sale. And I do that myself, and then I share it with districts. So, especially in the summertime, when I know which districts are summer feeding, and they're asking me to, I'm desperate for tomatoes, I will direct them here. And I will have them sign up for a weekly notice, that buy sell notice that comes to their inbox that tells them what's on the list for that week. Okay, so the next thing I think we're going to go through, and she's showing the search engines. There are 110 different ways to search for things on this. I tell my schools to normally just put in tomatoes, or put in ground beef, or put in grains or, flour, oats, whatever they're looking for, start searching that way first. And then whoever's in the buy sell group will come up. And these are just current sellers who are looking to sell off, right? This is just one of the ways schools are going to buy. The next thing I'm going to show you is going to be the affiliations tab. Now, when you're setting up a profile, there are all these different affiliations that you can list, right? And if you look down at what you'll see is, oh, look, Illinois Farm to School Network. When you list this as an affiliation on your page, the first thing a school knows is you're willing to sell to a school and you know how to manage it, right? So there's an opportunity right there. Once you list your affiliations, you can list it, your specialty crop member, you're a member of the Farm Bureau. Oh, look, we're Illinois Farm to School affiliated. And any farm can be, we don't have rules about it. We encourage farms to list us as an affiliate because it helps our schools find you. And this goes both ways. When a school's searching for food, they can click on affiliate and they can look for the farms that are actually, well, not on mine because mine's not going to show it. But if you click on Illinois Specialty Growers, what you're going to see is yep, here we go. Oh, look, a full listing of farms, right? Who have that affiliation, right? So if you eventually click on Farm to School, or you click on Farm to Institution, which is another affiliation, what you will see is a whole list of orchard or food farms that actually have that affiliation. And that is a buying tool and a selling tool, right? Okay, so next I'm going to take you, I'm watching time. I'm going to take you to certifications next. Now, when you're setting up an account, an actual profile on this website, you're going to list any certifications you have or any you're working toward. And this just helps the school figure things out, right? So if, say, if you're HALA certified, then a school that needs to serve HALA meals is going to check and see, right? And they're going to click on it and look for when they're looking for farms, they're going to look for that certification. It's all based on needs, right? But this is another way that schools shop. And this is another way for you to use a tool to sell. And it just goes through the basics. Some of them are from other parts of the country. Most of them are general. And you can just, if you're organic certified, if you're GAP certified for specific products, you can list that certification. And it just helps everyone a little bit further when they're looking for something. For the folks who sell proteins, beef, chicken, they need to have a USDA processing stamp on that final product. Otherwise, schools can't buy it. So you can add that affiliation and you can actually let them know that you are a USDA certified, or you take your beef to a USDA certified processor. And so now they know, right? And now they know they can check that box when they're buying ground beef patties, raw ground beef patties, or if they're buying bulk ground beef to use in chili or, in meat sauce for pasta, and they want to use their LFS dollars for ground beef, it has to be raw. It can't be cooked because that would make it minimally processed. When you cook something, it becomes fully processed, right? So these schools that want to do this, they're going to need to see that you have a USDA certified processor that you're using, so they know that they can buy that meat with no issues, and they can actually put it in their bids. So this is another part of making sure that you have a full profile, making sure that you have all the information that school buyers need up front, so they don't have to constantly connect and then be disappointed when they're not seeing what they need or not getting what they need. Let's see. So we're going to go back to the main page. And we're going to scroll down a bit. We're going to go to the National Forum Buy and Sell. And this is another part of buy and sell, but this is the National Forum. And if you don't have a problem with selling out of state, and you've done it before, and it's not a problem, not going to be anything different from the process you already have, then this is a great opportunity as well. There's also an email list that updates weekly for any buyers or sellers for this list. And you can go down, and there actually is a lot of packing materials here too. If you're looking for packaging, there's a lot here. So it's kind of, it's this big mix of food and packaging and affiliations and certifications that help you get your name out in front of schools, out in front of early child care centers. And a lot of the early child care centers now are in groups. They are now not just one center, there are many. Yeah, and this is an opportunity to sell to the group as a whole. So, there's a lot of different opportunities here on this website, and it really is helpful if you think about spending a half hour to create a page on the website. Not hard to do. And if you fill out your farm profile ahead of time, the one that I'm sharing with you tomorrow, you can actually have 90% of your information already there, right? So all you're doing is copy and pasting it from one to the other and filling out your form for Market Maker. And the more up to date it is, the more useful it is for pretty much anyone who's on the website. And as we do go through the next series of trainings, I have one in May, and I think we have 3 or 4 in autumn that we're going to be doing. Every time we do these trainings with school districts, with early care, with any institutional buyers that come to our trainings, we automatically share Market Maker because this is a really good thing. And it's, free. I mean, this is like somebody handing you the keys, right? And saying, go. And it's fairly well built. It's very well operated. You can search high and low. You can put in, our schools can actually put in zip code, and they can put in how many miles out they're looking. And then they can put in a product type, and they can say, sweet corn, if they're having a celebration in late August or the beginning of September, and they want to have a corn celebration and teach the kids about where corn comes from and have them help husk it and have a really great day, they can actually narrow down their search to exactly where they are, up to 50 miles out, 100 miles out, however far out they want to go, and list sweet corn is what they're looking for. And those farms will pop up for them. And then all they need to do is just click on one and read about it. And on that page, it'll tell them everything they need to know. So I think what we're going to do is really quick, we're going to go to the main page again. And what we're going to do, if you see in the center, it tells you to search, but also up on the top on the bar, there's a search as well. You can choose however you want to go about it, but I want to show just one farm. I'm trying to think. I know one for sure, garlic. Let's search for garlic and farms. And then when we get over here, what we need to do, I have to move something out of my way, I can't see. You're going to drop down to location and put in a zip code. I'm thinking, maybe we don't have a zip code. Put in a city, put in Bloomington. Yeah, there you go. Just Bloomington, Illinois. And then up your mileage to about 50 miles. And let's see if the one I'm thinking about comes up. Okay, now, do we have an error or is it going? It's thinking. Okay, so now what we're going to do, do you want to, I think it's right up on top here, Caroline. Just get out of your search. And what we should see is any farm that's selling garlic within, oh, are we having issue? Of course, we're gonna have issues. Okay, is garlic bread right up on top? Okay, the very first farm that comes up, look at the affiliations right across the bar. Oh, look at Illinois Farm to School Network, Illinois Farmers Market, and Illinois Specialty Growers. If you click on that farm, it'll take you to another page and it'll give you their profile. And this is kind of the same profile we're asking you to write for schools to begin with, right? So again, this is just a transfer of information. And if you scroll down, what you'll see is all the information you need to buy product. And it'll also tell them how they, what they're growing and how they're selling. So it'll say if they're delivering locally, yes, they are. If they have delivery available, yes, they do. It'll also say they also sell on farm and in mail order. They sell in a farmer's market booth. And then they basically say everything that they grow, right? So it's vegetables, garlic, and if they have something else that they grow, say they grow oats or they're growing fresh herbs, they're going to list it, right? So now this is all the information that school needs. They're going to look to see what you're capable of doing. Can you deliver? Are you selling in my area? And if there's no billing on here, then you ask them, they'll ask you, can you take billing? As opposed to paying with a credit card, because we don't do that at school. But all these different things that you can add in here give them more information. So you're gonna list that you can do billing because you can. Maybe this farm won't, but some others will. And if you click up by Shop Now, it'll take you to the website. And that's the great part of this. What's wonderful is that now you're seeing the actual website. So again, if you have recipes that you want to share, this is the place you do it. If you have products you want to share, this is where you do it. And your farm website is going to be whatever you create it to be, right? And if you don't have it, you can send them to a Facebook page for your farm. There's no limit as to the link that you're going to embed in the Market Maker page. And so this is just a visual of what it's going to look like when you're doing this. So what we're going to do, I think, is we're going to jump off Market Maker now, and we're going to go to our last slide. And then hopefully we will be able to go through questions. Okay, the next slide should take us. Yep, here we go. Okay, so now we're going to look at upcoming opportunities and resources. And what you'll see is there's several resources for farms, that we have available, and we have links, and you'll be able to see those links once you actually get the PDF of this. And if you need them live, just ask me and I'll send them an email. If you can't open a PDF, or if you need it in a Google Doc, however you need it, we can make it happen. And it's going to give you the producer toolkit that we have online that may offer some interesting things that you didn't even know were out there, resources you had no idea about. There's also case studies and videos from Bringing the Farm to School, which is a complete toolkit, by the way, for producers. And it's a very thorough toolkit. And I gotta say, it's one of the best ones I've seen out there. They have case studies and videos. In our last training, we actually played one of the videos. So you can understand there's the case studies are written, and some of them are actually videos as well. And they're from all over the country, all about small farms that have connected to schools, medium-sized farms that have connected to schools, and how they did what they did. You'll also see there's a link for the Innovation Hub grants, which actually are still open until April 30th. There's two different types of grants. There's the Spark Award, which is a one-year grant from $10,000 to $75,000. And for those farms who I've spoken to who say, nobody even wants to talk me to school, they don't understand me, how about you develop a toolkit for schools? How about you you apply for a Spark Award and create a toolkit to actually inform schools, to share information about farm to school and about your farm, and to create all your profiles, to create a website if you don't have a website, to actually make contact with schools in a meaningful way. You could write a small, very small Spark Award to get that started. So the possibilities are endless, and these Spark Awards run every year for the next this is our first year for another 3 years following. So for 4 years, we have Spark Awards open from $10,000 to $75,000 that are basically there to help you connect to schools. That's what they're written for. So it's a great opportunity to build something, right? To build up your resources, to create a process, to connect to these schools, to create a video, to share with schools, to have a battle plan of making an appointment with the actual school board to show them your video and talk about what you do and talk about farm to school. There's 100 different ways you could phrase this, but it's an opportunity for farmers with no, you don't have to have any match in these grants, by the way. So it's a great opportunity to build something to connect to schools. And we also have what we call Farm to School Local Procurement Day events. We've had 3 so far that have been wildly successful with our districts. And we are setting up an additional 3 starting we have an opening in June, and then we also have an opening in September, October, and I believe in November for our late harvest folks. And basically you can just contact me and say you're interested. I can share what we've done in the past. A local procurement day host would be a host site, so it'd be your farm, or it'd be your, if you're a distributor, your warehouse, your space. And what we do is we invite schools from all over the state to come to have a training, and then to meet the host and learn about the host. So far we've had 3. We've had one, our first one was at Janie's Mill in Ashcombe. Our next one was at Beyond Green Partners in Chicago. And then our last one was at Local Foods, the Common Market in Chicago. And what is wonderful is the schools can see up close and personal what you do, who you are. They pick up some training along the way, and then they're able to connect to you right then and there. We usually ask for a tour. So if you have a farm, you want to give us a mini tour of a spot you want us to see. We need a spot to seat up to 30 people. And then we usually just figure out how we're going to get a projector and a screen in there so we can do an education piece. And it's a great opportunity, and it connects you to schools. And what we find are the schools that come either come from miles away or come from directly around. So in Ashcombe, we had schools from Central Illinois, and then we had a bunch of Chicago schools that came down, Chicagoland area, Northern Illinois schools. It was mind-blowing to me that they drove 2.5 hours to come to a training because they really wanted to see this place, right? And they were really excited to meet the people who mill the grains. And since then, Janie's Mill has done great business with schools. They're actually connecting to schools now and selling to schools. It's an opportunity for you to make this connection. So if you're interested in any of these events, we can adjust the months that we're planning them. Everything is flexible, but just contact me at farmtoschool@7generationsahead.org, and we'll have that first conversation. And that's what I did with the last 3 event hosts that we had. It was a great opportunity for all 3 of them. They really enjoyed it, and they got a lot from it. And then our last point is our newsletter. If you're at this training, chances are you do get our newsletter, but if you don't, make sure you sign up for it, because anything that happens in Farm to School across the state hits my newsletter. And I send it out once a month. You won't be deluged. You will get event emails, and that'll be like if we're having a local procurement day, or if we're having, we have a new grant opening. When we opened our grants, we made sure we send that out. And those are just quick announcements. So we won't inundate you with emails, but what you will receive is a lot of information. And we have a whole section in our newsletter for farms. and farmers and processors and producers and distributors. So all the open grants, any new resources, any trainings that are coming up through IFB, through the Illinois Stewardship Alliance, through the Land Connection, through anyone who's training farmers. It's going to be in there. And then there's also resources, new resources, updates on older resources, things like that. It's a very well presented newsletter. It's a little bit lengthy, so you may have to click to see more in your browser, because we do have a tendency to include everything, because it's really hard to cut back on what you're showing folks. But it's a really good opportunity for you to stay on top of what's happening. And you'll see news articles from Illinois schools that are sourcing locally. What a better way to see it, to see a target school or see a school that's actually doing it than reading it in an article, right? And now you understand how they're doing it. So now you have something you can mention to a school target. Oh, you know, Lincoln School District 27, you know, they're doing all this great sourcing. You know, they're creating their own recipes. They have some great resources that they can share. You know, this is a good way to connect a school who doesn't know much about it to a school that does it, right? And that's because you saw it in the newsletter. And then you maybe asked me to connect you to Lincoln 27. You know, and it's just a process of picking up cues and creating resources, utilizing resources, and making those connections. So now I think what we're going to do is we're going to go into any questions you have. And if you want to ask out loud, you can go ahead and just unmute yourself. And Caroline, is there anything in the chat we need to answer?
Yes, there are a couple questions. Lindsay actually replied to one of them.
Hey.
Stephen is wondering, how do I edit the profile sheet for my farm? Why isn't the profile in Word?
Oh, I can send it to you in Word, Stephen. If you want, I can send you the Word doc. No problem. I'm going to write a note right now so I don't forget. Okay. I don't know which ones I sent last time, but I have the farm profile doc and the product profile docs are in Word. They're in Adobe and a PDF that you can edit, and I can move them into a Google Doc if you need it. So Stephen, I am going to send you that Word doc for the profiles. And it's written down on my list, so it will happen. Okay, is there any other questions on the chat?
Nope, no other questions, but Lindsay does have to head out at 4 o'clock. So she put her email in the chat. If anyone has any questions for the Illinois State Board of Education, send them her way. It's happy to help you out.
Wonderful. Lindsay is the one who runs the LFS funding at ISB. So if you have any questions about the farmer survey or about getting your name on the list for farms by utilizing the survey, questions about LFS, what are they allowed to buy, things like that, you can go ahead and connect to Lindsay. And if you're having a hard time finding the schools in that document that has the allotted amount of funding for each school district across the state, you can also ask for help from her or from me. I can also help you with the search on that. And if you can't find your school district, you can ask her if they're listed under a different name. Sometimes they have a different name than what you're accustomed to, the common name for the district. So yeah, thank you very much, Lindsay, for leaving your email address. We appreciate that immensely.